Nevada's Supreme Court has dismissed an appeal from the Trump campaign at the request of the campaign itself. The appeal had been challenging voter processes in Clark County, where more than 2/3 of the state's voters live. But campaign attorneys and county officials were able to reach an agreement instead. The compromise allows the public additional observation access at one vote processing facility. The original lawsuit also asked the court to force Clark County to change the way it verifies signatures on ballots. A judge denied that request. Nevada has until Thursday to finish counting its ballots. CBS News has projected President-elect Joe Biden will win the state. He is currently leading there by roughly 36,000 votes. For more, Nevada Attorney General Aaron Ford joins me now from Las Vegas. Mr. Attorney General, thank you so much for joining us. So it's interesting here. I wonder, first of all, what your reaction is to how this particular case was resolved.
Well, Elaine, great to see you again. Thanks for having me on. I have no problem with the way the lawsuit was resolved. It's to be noted, however, that the Trump administration did lose below. With some of the exact same arguments that they have waged in subsequent lawsuits and that they are waging in other states, including lawsuits around or allegations around the Agilis machine, as it is called, that machine which is counting the ballots. At the end of the day, however, Clark County decided that they could accommodate one of the concerns or one of the requests and agreed to dismiss on that particular ground. That said, it is not clear that the lawsuit is over, however, because we have interveners in this case. They may or may not accede to the dismissal at the district court level.
Yeah, so on that point, do you expect to hear more from the Trump campaign on this?
We're ready for it. I don't know what to expect at this juncture, frankly, though. We have met Mr. Trump in court 4 times already, and we beat him 4 times already. And so at the end of the day, if he were to come in with another trick up his sleeve, so to speak, if he doesn't have evidence, we will beat him in court again.
Well, as part of that lawsuit, the Trump campaign presented a list of 3,000 people they say voted illegally after moving out of state. Now, is it plausible you could have voters living outside Nevada who are still eligible to vote there?
Absolutely. And I can give you an example. The military members who live elsewhere but who reside in this state from a residency perspective. And that's the reason why I would imagine this Trump campaign and his surrogates have not presented an actual complaint to my office for investigation. They didn't give me the list. They gave the list to other folks, and they're using it in the press to drum up hysteria. But the truth is, when you look at the list, you see addresses on there of folks who are in our military. You know who else can vote from elsewhere? Students, Mormon missionaries. There are so many reasons why people may be on this list, and that's the reason why they will not, in my estimation, file a complaint with my office, because we will see through what they're doing, which is, again, simply trying to undermine the integrity of our elections.
I want to ask you about the timeline. The deadline to finish counting ballots in Nevada is Thursday. I know James Corden had some fun, poking fun at why it's taking so long. He talked about the fact that you have those all-night casinos. Why can't you get this ballot count done and going quickly? But your state has come under some criticism for taking a long time to count these ballots. So what's your response? And is Nevada going to make that deadline?
Well, let me take the latter part first. Absolutely, we're going to make the deadline. I have the utmost confidence in the competency of all of our elections officials in the state, from our Republican Secretary of State to the 17 county registrars that run these elections, many of whom are career registrars who know what they're doing. But to your first question as to why it's taken so long, there are a couple of reasons. First of which, COVID. It's not as though you can have hundreds upon hundreds of people on top of one another counting mail-in ballots, which takes me to the second reason that I want to indicate as to the reason why it's taken a while longer. Our legislature, in its infinite wisdom, decided that during COVID, they wanted to present the opportunity for those who want to vote to exercise the right to do so free from COVID and to send mail-in ballots. And so this is the first election that we've had during a pandemic where the majority, maybe not the majority, but a vast number of individuals have submitted ballots for consideration via mail. And that requires us to go through fraud detection procedures such as signature verification, such as ensuring that the voting codes match up, and other redundancies to ensure that no one can vote twice, for example. So it's taken time. We believe in getting it right, not getting it fast. And so, again, I believe in the integrity of our election and the competency of all of those elected officials and state workers who are working on this.
Well, as you know, Attorney General William Barr authorized federal prosecutors to investigate specific claims of voter fraud and has said that includes allegations in Nevada. What's your response to that?
Well, I think the letter actually said irregularities, and that's not a legal term of art, frankly, that can necessarily lead anywhere. But it seems to me a bit inappropriate. For 40 years, through Democratic and Republican presidents, the federal government has maintained a policy of staying out of state elections, at least until the certification stage. Our election is to be certified in short order, and at that point, the Department of Justice wanted to engage, then that would be pursuant to the historical practice. We know what we're doing here. As I've indicated, there is no evidence of widespread voter fraud. Those who continue to tout this in the media and in the press are doing it there and not within the confines of a complaint actually filed in my office because they know they have no leg to stand on. And so at the end of the day, I would wish that the Department of Justice would simply follow their own precedent and not feed into the hysteria that the nonsense is being brought forth, and the nonsense that's being brought forth.
So the Trump campaign has also made allegations related to improper election processes in Pennsylvania and is demanding the courts stop the results from being certified until a review of the ballots can be conducted. So are you preparing for something similar potentially happening in Nevada?
You know, I hate to keep repeating my same idiom, but I stay ready so we don't have to get ready. Yes, we are prepared for something like that. And you know, what we have seen is what I call the run of show for those who are undermining this election. And it's not all Republicans, to be sure, because many Republicans are speaking out against this, and I commend them for that. But those who are undermining the integrity have done so from the beginning, from voter registration, making it hard, from those who are registered being able to vote, making that hard, for those who have voted, ensuring that their vote can count, to making that hard, from those whose votes have counted to trying to get those kicked out, and for those who they can't get kicked out to try to stop the certification of the election. They are suppressing votes at every turn, and we in our state have defeated them at every turn. We will continue doing so.
And finally, what do you make of the president's refusal to concede the election to President-elect Joe Biden?
I think President-elect Joe Biden said it best. It's embarrassing. The people decide this election, not politicians, current or former. And at the end of the day, the votes have come in, the numbers are being tallied, final results will be certified, and we will have an inauguration on January 20th for President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. I look forward to that.
Nevada Attorney General Aaron Ford. Mr. Attorney General, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.